Hi, honeys. It's Michelle Escalon. I'm here today to do a fun Do I Have That Book challenge. I just love these videos. I've been watching them and I think they're really fun. So I wanted to go ahead and do one. And there's actually two different challenges. So if you like this, be sure to hit subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. And that way you will be informed when the next book challenge video comes out. So I'm just going to jump right to it. And if you want to comment on any of the books that you have or partake in one of these challenges, go right ahead. If you do make a video with a challenge, if you're a YouTuber, please put the link of the video down in the comment section so that I can watch it, because otherwise I won't know that you did it. Okay, the first question is, do you have a book with deckled edges? Okay, I had to look that up. What are deckled edges? This is deckled edges, where the pages are uneven. Sorry about the little post-it notes. This is just some notes that I was taking. So this book is called The Finishing School by Joanna Goodman, and I did do a review of this book in a previous video. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Sorry, I keep looking down. That's where my notes are. Do you have a book with 3 or more people on the cover? So I ended up having Brad help me with some of this, since we're both book lovers, and I didn't, a lot of my books are in storage, and so he went through his books and he helped me with some of these. And one of the ones that he had is Star Wars Shadows of the Empire by Steve Perry, and he said this is an older book, but how fun is that, right? We did have fun though, didn't we? He's like, you did. I know you did. Speaking of Brad.
What'd you use that book for?
What?
What'd you use that book for?
The 3 or more people on the cover.
Oh.
Yeah. So, speaking of Mr. Brad, if you've been around a little while, a few months ago, we did a Q&A video, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and we wanted to do another one. So if you have any questions for us, whether it be about us, about each other, one of those like, would you rather, or this or that, any of those kind of questions, or even if you have questions about advice that you want, just whatever, you can just say question and then put the question and I'll make a note of it down in the comments. Or if it's something private and you want to be anonymous, which I totally understand, I will put my email address up here. Just go ahead and send me your questions. But I'm really looking forward to doing another one of those with him. It was really fun. Okay, the next one is, do you have a book that is based on another fictional story? Well, we both really had fun with that because I could think of different movies I've seen where I know there was a book from the movie that was based on another story, but trying to actually find one that we had was not very fun. But I did finally just decide to use this one. It's called The Mockingbird Next Door, Life with Harper Lee by Maria Mills. And this book, I haven't read it yet, but she talks about Harper Lee and the way that she grew up and how she came to write the book To Kill a Mockingbird. And then I think she even talks about her life afterwards. I think she was her neighbor or something. And so to me, this is about To Kill a Mockingbird, right? But now I don't know if you'd call this a fictional book though, is the only problem. But it was the closest I could come. So I hope that's okay. Do you have a book with a title that's 10 letters long? I do. It's called Influencer. And I actually read this before I did YouTube. Maybe I should read it again now that I'm monetized and things have changed a little bit for me. But this is called Influencer, Building Your Personal Brand in the Age of Social Media by Brittany Hennessy. Do you have a book with a title that starts and ends with the same letter? I do. The 12 Mile Straight, and this is by Eleanor Henderson. I haven't read this one yet either. Do you have a book that is a mass market paperback? Yes, Fern Michael's Payback. I had to look this up too. A mass market paperback is just this, a paperback that's in the smaller size that tends to be mass market. Apparently the quality of the binding and the paper and the book and everything aren't as high. So they tend to be a little bit cheaper, but they're the kind that are small enough that you can take with you on a plane or in your purse or stuff in your back pocket, that kind of thing. So that's what this is a mass market paperback, which I never knew that's what they were called. Do you have a book by an author using a pen name? This is Brad's book. This is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. It turns out that was not her real name. I never knew that, but I found out tonight. That's one thing that's really fun about this. It feels like going on a scavenger hunt, but for books, but for your own books. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of research to come up with the answer. So I had fun doing it. I don't know if Brad did, but I did. Do you have a book with a character's name in the title? Okay, I do. And I've been reading this book. I think I've read it every year since, let me see what year it came out real quick here. Because I am a rereader when I like a book. 1991. I've been reading it a long time, and I've put tape over the front of it because it started falling apart. It's called Christmas Night by Karen Rafferty, and this is a Harlequin temptation book. Just to give you an idea that it really was 1991, it says that it was $2.99 when I bought it, and I've read it pretty much every year since, every Christmas. Maybe not every year, but almost every year. And the main character is a lady named Christmas Night with a K, and they call her Christy, but no joke, that's her name. So the title of the book is her name. You might be hearing a little more about that soon. I might read this one in December. I have a good amount of books to read in December, a good amount of Christmas books. I didn't realize I had so many, and I bought a couple more, so now I have a lot. So I don't know if I'll get to that one or not this year. But do you have a book with 2 maps in it? I do. Let me find the map here. Well, this one has 1 map. I hope that's okay. But it's this book, The Revolution of Marina M by Janet Fitch. And I love Janet Fitch, so I'm sure I'll love this book. And here is the map that's in there. And I know Brad has the Game of Thrones books, and I know they have maps in them, but I wanted to use as many, of my own books as I could. But I've heard this is really good. I haven't read it yet. I'm hoping to read this one in January, February, somewhere around there. Do you have a book that was turned into a TV show? I do. I have The Alienist by Caleb Carr. My brother and his wife gave this to me for Christmas, I think it was. Let's see. Yeah. Christmas of 2003, they gave it to me. And I really enjoyed it. Now, I read this in 2003 or 04, right around Christmas that year. And I haven't read it since, but I loved the show. So I probably will read this again soon. Back then I had this dream of moving to New York City, and that's why they bought it for me, is to kind of familiarize me with New York City and the history of it and all that. Okay. Do you have a book written by someone originally famous for something else? Okay, I took that to mean a memoir. And one of my favorite friends wrote this one. Rue McClanahan. Actually, and she actually wrote this. It's her memoir called My First Five Husbands. And you know who that is, right? Blanche from the Golden Girls. And I haven't read it yet. I really want to. I have too many books that I need to read. I think I should go on like a book buying strike. I'm sure Brad would be cheering in the other room if he can hear me. I don't know if he hears me or not, but maybe it's time to just read through some of these before I buy more. Okay, do you have a book with a clock on the cover? Okay, we really had to scour high and low through every book that we own, or that's not in storage anyway. And the closest we could come, it doesn't have a clock on the cover, but it's got a watch. Do you think that counts? I feel like that counts. I mean, it tells you what time it is, right? And that would be this book, Rise and Grind by Damon John. And this guy, he's very inspirational. He is on that show Shark Tank, and I have actually read this book. This one talks about different people that he finds amazing and how they start their day, or how organized they are. Well, it's been a few years since I read it, but I think it was how they start their day, how they start every day of their life, or that kind of thing. It was actually really good. But there is the watch. Do you have a poetry book? Okay, I think this is a poetry book. And this is old, so excuse me, it's a little beat up here. Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends. And this was my copy as a child. I don't know why I wrote 19 on the front. And then I've got like Michelle Escalin and Kai Marks equals True Love Forever. Kai Marks, I think I remember him. But this one, Michelle plus Joseph equals love. I don't know who Joseph was. I had a dog named Joseph as an adult that I really loved, but blue means good point poem. Huh. So what if there's a blue mark on there? Some of these are circled with red ink. And then some of them have a star on them, but blue. Oh, good point. What's that? Apparently I thought the poem Smart had a good point to it. But yeah, I had all kinds of listen to the mustn'ts. I had all kinds of different things that I did as a child to annotate books and to keep track of them. And of course I used to pretend I was a librarian. Maybe that's what the 19 is. Maybe it was book 19. Now, why it didn't have a card in there, I don't know, but anyway. So that's my fun little book of poems. Do you have a book with an award stamp on it? I do. I actually bought this book for Brad. It's The Life of Pi, and see, it has the award stamp right here. And this is by Jan Martel. Brad has not read this yet. I don't know if he will, but I'm sure eventually one of us will. It's one of those things where sometimes you buy a book for someone thinking that they'll be interested in the premise, and then you start kind of wondering later, oh, maybe they weren't. So I don't know if he was actually interested in reading this, but I bought it for him. But I'll read it eventually if he doesn't, so. Or we'll donate it or something. Do you have a book written by an author with the same initials as you? I do. This book, You Are a Complete Disappointment by Mike Edison. Haven't read this one yet either. Do you have a book of short stories? I do. Okay, this book is, I guess you could call it an antique now. This was my mom's book when she was a little girl that she gave me. The Treasury of Christmas Stories. 50 cents. Wow. It's got my mom's name inside. And then see this one, I wrote 30. Oop. See, so that must have been my little system as an amateur librarian as a child. I probably had like notebook paper with, you know, books 1 through 300 or something. And next to each number, I put the name of the book. I bet that's what it was. Probably trying to keep track of how many books I had. But the copyright for this one is 1960. And it's falling apart, so I don't really want to open it too much, but it's definitely got a bunch of little short stories in it and a cute little cat at the back. Okay. Do you have a book that's between 500 and 510 pages long? No. Nope, I sure don't. I went through every book I have, and I was really going nuts because I have books that are, you know, 498 and 527 and stuff like that, but nothing between 500 and 510 pages. Do you have a book that was turned into a movie? I do. It's this book here. This is Where I Leave You by Jonathan Tropper. Does it have the name of the movie on here? That's not what the movie's name was, I don't think. I'll put the name of the movie up here. It was such a good book. And the movie was okay, but the book it was really good and really funny. And I think I read it in like 24 hours. I couldn't put it down. And I have read that one more than once, by the way. Do you have a book that is a graphic novel? I do. I've got one. But I did borrow one of Brad's because I thought this one was really nice too. Mine's in my office with like in a stack of things I still need to put on Goodreads, so I didn't really want to take anything out of there. But this is Brad's Spider-Man Birth of Venom, and it is a Marvel. And the one I have is Rainbow Rowell's Pumpkinheads. But he's got a bunch of graphic novels. And now that I read my first one, I will probably start buying more too, because I actually really enjoyed having a graphic novel. It's such a nice way to, what do they call that? Like a palate cleansing book. Between books, you can read something like this and just kind of come down from the last book you read. But another thing that's nice about these, if you're watching something live on TV and you don't want to pay attention to the commercials, you can read something like this while the commercials are on. I don't know, it's a thing I do. And then the last question, do you have a book written by 2 or more authors? I do. And this was, it's The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is probably one of the first books I did in a month-end book review on here, I think. It was like month 1 or 2 or something. It was pretty early on in my YouTube book review videos, but I really loved this book too. I kept it and I plan on rereading it, and it was wonderful. But yeah, Christina Lauren is actually 2 ladies. So that is it for my Do I Have That Book challenge. Thank you so much for watching. I will have, there's another Do I Have That Book challenge that I will be doing very soon, so keep your eye out for it. And like I said, if you haven't already hit the notification bell, you might want to do that so you get notified when the second video comes out. You have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you. Bye.